I'm very against Christmas music being played too early. Now, I know I'm jumping on a bandwagon here, and I know this is like, okay, get off my lawn, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mariah Carey has spoken.
I like her, and I love her song.
And she always says, before Halloween, it's too soon.
But it's still too soon. She needs to wait until very close to Thanksgiving, if not after Thanksgiving. I know Chris Demm's policy is day after Thanksgiving.
That's when I used to listen on my road trip trips home from seeing Mom and Dad.
And Dave, I know you think that Thanksgiving gets lost in the shuffle.
It does get lost in the shuffle. Halloween's a big deal. Yeah. Christmas is a big deal, and Thanksgiving is just kind of wedged in there. And it's really the best of the three.
It's the Jan Brady because it's the middle.
Shouldn't be treated that way.
Should not be treated that way.
So who's Marsha?
I guess, well...
Is Cindy Halloween?
Well, Marsha came first, though, so she'd be Halloween.
Yeah, but Marsha's got to be Christmas.
Yeah, Marsha's bigger. She's got to be Christmas.
You're right.
The way she's wrapped.
Marsha is Christmas.
Yeah, Cindy's Halloween, kind of cute.
Yeah.
Dresses up. Got the pigtails.
But Thanksgiving is Jan.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be Jan because it's a great holiday.
It's the best of the three, I'm telling you.
Mariah Carey, she did her video yesterday. She had a witch on a exercise bike cackling, and then Mariah came in, and she's done this before, and said, okay, it's time. This is the witch.
It's time.
I know. She hit that note, didn't she?
I don't want a lot for Christmas.
She should do that with a turkey on the day after Thanksgiving. They should have a turkey in there, and she should blow it out of the sky and say, it's time, and then start singing. But I'm in the minority.
You're losing ground.
I lose because every year it gets earlier, and the radio stations switch to the Christmas music earlier. And we're on some that have switched to Christmas music.
And this came home yesterday at your house?
Yeah, my daughter, she on the way home from school, she's like, put it on the Christmas music. And they did. I wasn't in the car, but they listened to it. And she came home just so full of life, and I tried to squash it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
That's my
job.
It really is your best skill.
That's my job, to take the joy out of the child and say, we're not having Christmas just yet. It's just not time for it, Dave. It's just not.
Well, you won't get an argument from me, but
I know.
Kids want what they want. And they'll grow out of it, too. They'll say, this isn't the right time.
No, I don't know, but I think adults like it this early now. I think that, in the
The
stores.
woman who cuts my hair said she'd listen to Christmas music 12 months a year.
A year, yeah. But
I don't like that.
the specialness of it is gone now.
Agreed.
There is no
It's
specialness.
these get what you want when you want it.
They ask.
But
That's right.
But on their argument is that it's reminiscent of times gone by, which is kind of your thing too, Kelly.
Well, it is, but
all you want to do is go back.
I do, but Christmas does come back every year. You can enjoy that time in late November.
But those songs, they touch you in a way that
they do.
They do. They evoke childhood and whatever you did when you were 9 years old listening to that.
But the great thing to me about it is it's special, and you just isolate it to that time of the year. There's only one Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, and to me there should be
the Christmas season,
about a month of a Christmas season. Now I love Halloween. I think it's a nice build-up.
Great,
but I like the November, because right now the leaves are orange on the trees.
They're beautiful.
And they're beautiful. That's fall. That's Thanksgiving. That's harvest. That's cornucopia.
Yes.
And pumpkins.
Yes.
It's not snow
and the
falling.
Mayflower and Puritans.
Right. It's not snow falling and candy canes. It's just not yet.
No, I agree with you.
A member of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra has weighed in. And, yeah.
Well, they're touring now.
They are. They're touring now.
This is their year. This is their time.
This is their time, but it shouldn't be.
Do they speak English or Siberian?
They're speaking English.
Okay.
And he was asked, is it too early?
I'm okay with it because I went into Lowe's yesterday, and it seems that every year people start kind of prepping for Christmas a little bit earlier and earlier. If you and I are having this conversation around the 4th of July, I'm going to say it's too early. Stop it. It's cold out, up here in Pennsylvania. I live on top of a mountain. The leaves are changing. I'm okay with it.
I tell you, the way it's going, though, it might, in a few years, be October 15th, and then Halloween's going to be lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That right there. I just cannot cotton to it.
You don't think people this year, especially with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, will hold it against Trans-Siberian Orchestra? And boycott the show?
Possible. It's possible.
Will be protesters in front of the venues?
I don't know.
Man, but that would be right
Russia out of Ukraine!
Could be.
And that would be right up Americans' alley, totally.
But then could I say you're stepping over trans rights?
Yeah, you got to be cross-dressed.
Watch it.
It's a wig.
Who wins?
I live in Pittsburgh.
You're doing it in heels.
Guys, we're from Pittsburgh.
It's a battle of two groups there. I don't know.
I don't know if you can play a harp or not.
What a protest.
What are you wearing?
All right, Texas Trucker, your opinion on Christmas music. Too early or not?
Good morning, guys. Listen, I'm in your camp, Kelly. Listen, the season for Christmas music is the day before, the day of, and the day after. That's it.
Oh, wow. Boy, you really
That's tight.
hardcore.
That's tightening it down now. I like day after Thanksgiving, but this is way too early to me. I mean, it's 75 degrees outside here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you, Texas Trucker. And you're a man who travel the roads, so you know about this Christmas music and such.
I wish there were Christmas specials and variety shows like there used to be. Now, it's hard to do because on networks, but if Mariah Carey had a 2-hour special on, I don't care where, Hulu, Netflix, and did it live one night.
Christmas
and then they could play,
Eve or day
No,
before?
I think if you do it like the first week of December.
Yeah.
And had other singers come on and do Christmas songs and skits and variety show type stuff. Somebody like her with bigger names that she could get, she would be the next Bing Crosby. She'd be the next Bob Hope of Christmas.
Yeah.
She did do that.
Oh, she
her
did?
voice didn't help.
Oh, her
up.
voice, yeah.
I believe we have the clips of some of
I
that.
think we do. But she had that. She hit that note yesterday now.
It's time.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Did you
that
hear
was
that?
also her like in a closed. But I remember
was
she tried to
cold.
sing outside and it was cold and she said she couldn't get her breath right.
That's right.
That was
That was
sounded
lighting the tree.
terrible.
that was lighting
Yeah,
the tree.
tree lighting,
That was lighting
yeah.
the tree. You're right.
Yeah, she needs her own show that's overcanned and pre-produced and that people love.
If you're, by the way, if you're playing dating game, you can check off Bob Hope and Bing
Bing
Crosby for Weather Dave.
Will we see Danny F and K?
Very
Dave?
good All-American football team out here, boy.
Sorry, there's only one Bing Crosby out here.
Where's my pipe?
You come at the king, you best not miss.
That's Bing Crosby.
Get me a kid to beat.
This is here's Mariah. Listen, Mariah hit that note now. Listen to this.
It's
Oh my God! You cannot. Dogs are like, what is that?
That's not fair to anybody.
It's amazing. I mean, she got it back apparently. Heroin Scott, you're talking about Christmas music. Is it too early or is it not? Go ahead, Heroin Scott.
Well, yeah, it's too early, but the big issue is it's now boiled down more to like some man trying to have sex with a woman instead of Christmas. Instead of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Dashing Through the Snow, is some man or woman or two women trying to lay down with each other and have sex under the Christmas stars.
What songs are these?
Where do I go?
All of a sudden, Dave's interested.
Is that an unreleased Bing Crosby track?
I don't know what he's
Hey,
referring
boys,
to.
keep recording. I'm going to do Pound on Christmas.
I'll be over here under the tree.
Thank you, Heroin Scott. He always comes at an angle. You
Yeah, I
don't
didn't quite
expect it.
know where that was
You don't expect it.
headed.
It's sexual. It's sexualized.
Well, now I'm in the spirit.
Two women under the tree?
Two-wheel hardo. One woman for each wheel.
Well, boy, Heroin Scott. I didn't expect that. I did not expect that.
Heroin Scott.
By the way, my wife, listen to this. This is the other thing we're talking about at my house. My wife got the Matthew Perry book on her Kindle midnight yesterday.
Okay.
Like you.
I figured it would happen.
She had it on pre-order. She has the Kindle. She woke up yesterday morning. She had it. Last night, I got home from pickling, 9 o'clock. She said, I just finished the book.
Damn.
One day.
Devoted the entire day to it?
The entire day. Every time I was writing some put up or shut up questions in the afternoon and singing. Well, I was singing some Bryan Adams. And she said,
None of that Christmas junk.
No. She said, shut that down. I'm reading. Please, I'm reading. I was watching Friends. She goes, mute it. I'm
How many pages do we know?
I don't know the answer to that. I didn't ask her. And she said I could read it, but I'd need some time because, she always tells
Some time?
me. To
process?
She reads a lot faster than I do. She goes, take a week at Christmas.
But she doesn't comprehend. You know
Let me
that.
ask you this. Does she retain?
That's it.
No. Huge fight in my family. I always say, you don't retain. She goes, God darn dude.
You know what you should do? Go and come up with some sort of a little excerpt that's not in the book, some sort of a piece of trivia about Friends, and say, "Oh, what about this part about this?" And she'll say, "What?"
Yeah.
And
that's
say,
right. And
"I guess you
it's
missed
right
it.
there in the book.
It's in the book, sugar."
Many times, 2 years after we've both read a book, I'll say, I'll quiz her. And she will not
That's
know.
fun.
Okay.
It's not a race.
That sounds healthy.
It's about retention. I'll go back and say, in Gone Girl, where did she hide once she faked her own death? She's like, I don't know. It's like, of course you don't.
Mountain cabin. Boom. You didn't read it. You're speed reading.
Yep, she's speed reading.
You didn't retain.
She's skimming.
You didn't retain.
I kind of like the idea of making up stories that weren't there.
That are not in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just drives them nuts.
What a great idea.
Do you remember when he crushed up pills and sniffed them off Mariah Carey's ass at Christmas time?
Did you get to that part?
Did you get to that? Oh, you didn't. You don't retain.
That's what
You
I
don't
thought.
retain.
So will you, Kelly, do you prefer to read on Kindle or are you going to go hard copy?
Well, usually I'm a hard copy man, but I did read something over the last vacation on Kindle, and I loved it because you could make it bigger.
Yeah, but you only have one, right?
Yeah, we only have one Kindle, and
that's
she's
her
reading
thing.
every day. Yeah, she's reading all the time.
She can't let you borrow it because you take 2 weeks to read a book.
That's her words.
What she said.
That's what she says. And she's right. I'm a slower reader, but I retain.
Yeah.
One thing I read today about the book that people are talking about a lot from Matthew Perry is that he was always drinking. He started as a teenager and was drunk almost every day. And he said when he first started trying to be romantic with women, he couldn't perform because he could not.
Whiskey D.
Okay. Whiskey D. I mean, all the time. And he said, I was walking around just thinking, I can't have sex. It's not meant for me because he thought something was wrong with him. He didn't realize that it was the drink causing him the problem. And then he went out with Carrie Fisher's half sister, Trisha Fisher. And they got to
Trisha
Fisher
Who did that to
is
her?
her name. And apparently he confided in her and said, I'm impotent. And she goes, you're not impotent, you're drunk all the time. And he said, what are you talking about? And she goes, because you're drunk, you can't achieve an erection. And so he took a couple of days, didn't drink, and had sex with her.
This is great.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God.
Thanks, Trisha Fisher.
This changes everything. He said he credits Trisha Fisher with showing him how to treat a woman. And he's like, before that, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. And he thought he had impotence, like lifelong. He's like, I will not ever have sex because of impotence. And he didn't realize it was drinking. Interesting.
Dog.
And the one thing he said about Friends was, and Chris Demm would not know this because he didn't watch the show, but early on, Matthew Perry, to get laughs, he would say a line with the inflection in the wrong place. Have you ever heard him? Sometimes they would do it on the show. Like he would say, could I be any more?
Well, yeah,
lame?"
I've heard people mimic that for a
For
generation.
a long time. This was Chandler's character, and it's him saying it first, and then the other characters would mimic him.
Could you want her more?
Okay. Could that report be any later?
Could that shot be any prettier? Look at me. I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes?
So they did that a lot.
That was his comic phrasing.
Yeah, and they would make fun of him for having that inflection. He did that early, and he told them he had gotten laughs just in groups of friends by saying stuff like that. And that's just interesting. They took all the characters one-on-one, all the actors one-on-one with the directors and producers and tell us about yourself, and we're going to build the character around that.
Yeah.
And he told those folks before the show ever started that he was really nervous around women. That he
got
would
whiskey dick.
Whiskey dick.
I'm drunk.
I'm a drunk. I'm on 55 Vicodin a day. And then he said,
Work with that.
okay. No, he said, I'm very nervous around women, and if there's ever any silence, I try to fill it with awkward humor. And so they wrote that in. And he said, and I talk like this to get laughs, and he did that, and they wrote it into so many episodes. After season 5 or 6, he said, I was so sick of doing that, I just didn't do it. The line would come up, and I would say it in a regular way.
Yeah.
And they would come to me and say, what are you doing? And he'd say, I'm not.
This isn't why we
doing
hired
that
you.
anymore.
You've got to do it like
There's
this.
something else he said, too, was there are very few blooper reels of Friends because they were all so professional, they almost never missed a line. Sometimes if a joke didn't work, they would redo it and rewrite the joke, take a 10-minute break and rewrite the joke. If the audience didn't laugh like they thought they would, they'd rework it, but they almost never missed a line. So you don't see too many bloopers of Friends. That's interesting to me, too. And the last thing he said was they dressed him up in too many sweater vests. And after season 5, he said, no more sweater vests for Chandler. He was adamant.
Is that when
about
they started making $1 million an episode?
Yeah. But I think season 7, they started making $1 million an episode. And he said, I do not want any more sweater vests. And he didn't want to say, could I be any more attractive?
They were probably the first, I don't know a lot about old Hollywood, but they were probably the first real ensemble cast that went to the producers and said, we want the same amount of money. And I don't think that probably happened on Beverly Hillbillies or Gilligan's Island or Cosby Show.
He credited David Schwimmer with that. The first season, Schwimmer was on all the magazine covers and was getting movie offers. Nobody else was yet. And Schwimmer went to them and say, we're going to stick together and we're all going to negotiate as a team every single season.
So they all made the same money
every single
for each
season.
episode and for their residuals.
Yes. And then when Aniston became the biggest star, they stayed with it. And everybody made a pact. We're not leaving the show early. We're leaving at the same time. And we're ending on our terms, and we're doing it together always.
Man, what a novel idea.
It's kind of what I was getting at.